Factions. Violence. Let's talk about it. First up, Constellation. Constellation is likely the most important faction in the game, and it's not a reach to say they'll play a pivotal role in the main story, as both of you work together to try to answer the universe's greatest questions, which is what is really out there, what role does religion play in our development, and most importantly, are we really alone? Now, Todd Howard describes them as NASA meets Indiana Jones, and Indiana Jones meets the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And as influential as sexy as that sounds, that doesn't translate to wealth, influence, and power in our current timeline. This faction once upon a time was held in extreme high regard, as they were the ones who led the way for humanity to colonize the settled systems, and probably the ones that saved them from the travesty that happened back home on Earth all those years ago. So you see, exploration and asking questions is in their DNA. However, once humanity as a whole settled in their settled systems, there was no need for exploration. There was no need to ask questions. Curiosity was gone, and in its place, life. You see, people didn't care about the extraordinary because the extraordinary played no roles in their ordinary lives. The goal was to live. End of story. And with that revelation, Constellation lost its relevance and importance, meaning their influence along with their wealth waned. And in the year 2330, they remain a shadow of their former selves, and few among the public are actually aware of their existence. However, with you being intertwined with Constellation early on in the game, you'd have the ability to help Constellation to fulfill their long-term objectives in answering these questions. And accompanying or helping you on these adventures are members such as Noel, Mateo, Walter, Vlad, Barrett, Sam, Vasco, and of course, the head of Constellation, Sarah Morgan. Now, getting to these artifacts isn't going to be easy sailing, which is expected, as you'll have to interact with other factions, negotiate, and fight with them. So let's talk about them.
The United Colonies, or UC.
The UC is the most powerful faction in this game, and above all else, they stand for law and order. The main objective in this game is currently unknown, but we can assume power will likely play a role. I'm saying this because we know that they have the strongest military in this game across multiple star systems, and in 2310 they entered a civil war with the second most powerful faction in the game, the Freestar Collective. The war was over by 2330, with the Freestar Collective maintaining its independence for now. Not much else is known about them from a hierarchy perspective, but just like Constellation, they are based in New Atlantis, which just so happens to be the largest city in the game. And if you didn't believe me about them maintaining law and order, just look at their capital, their neatness, organization, and guards ensuring peace is kept at all times in this cosmopolitan society. And with the harsh realities of the settled systems and space, it's probably to no one's surprise the citizens don't mind being led by a strict and firm centralized government, which is a unified council called the MAST, that stands for Military, Administrative, Scientific, Triumvirate. I don't want to get into speculation territory too much, but these three branches are probably what enabled the UC to be formidable. But it could also be what brings them down. The council, however, might be too busy dealing with the galaxy's new growing threat. Introducing the Crimson Fleet.
Let's go.
The Crimson Fleet is a faction based in the Krix system and is headquartered in the Key, which is a former UC space station. It's fair to assume this station wasn't peacefully handed over, hence the hatred by the UC for the Crimson Fleet. And where there's hatred, there's conflict. If you want to know how different these opposing forces are, one must only look at the stark difference between how the UC upkeep their space stations in relation to how the Crimson Fleet do. And if you couldn't tell from the images, one of them is organized and the other one is a little bit all over the place. In other words, they will be the pirates faction in the game, and our early interactions portrays them as the antagonist, at least for now. When it comes to their structure, the Crimson Fleet isn't a single organized entity, but a loose confederation of individual pirate captains, all organized under the same banner. For years, the Crimson Fleet was considered a localized problem for the Freestar Collective. But in 2330, the pirates expanded far beyond the Creek system and established new footholds in Sagan, Cheyenne, Lunara, and Nairon. This caused the UC to officially recognize the Crimson Fleet as a growing threat which must be eradicated at all cost. A difficult thing to do, but easy to recognize, as the members of the Crimson Fleet can be identified by the use of the Jolly Roger, their faction emblem. From everything we've seen, the Crimson Fleet would likely rank as the third most powerful faction in the game after the UC and Freestar Collective, which might not make them an immediate threat, but a threat nonetheless. And now, let's talk about the most unique looking faction in the game.
Let's talk about the Freestar Collective.
Officially formed in 2189, the Freestar Collective is one of the two established governments in the settled systems. It differs significantly to its adversary, the UC, as it has more of a libertarian approach to governance and the management of its people. It possesses humanity's second largest military force. This force, consisting of 3 distinct star systems, which banded together for trade, development, and defense. Images and videos we've seen portrays a world or city that's more akin to the style of the Wild Wild West. This is further illustrated by its security force, the Freestar Rangers, which look specifically like the Cowboys of the United States. Now, if you're wondering what role the Freestar Collective will play in this game or what their overall objective is, that's currently unknown. But what we do know is they were accused of breaking the Treaty of Nairon by the UC, which was signed in 2216. The main talking point here was the expansion of the Freestar Collective by farming on the planet Bethesda. Now, this isn't to say the UC are angels themselves, as it was the UC's expansion into the Nairon system back in 2194 that caused the people of Nairon to join the Freestar Collective, which was at the time consisting of just 2 star systems, the settlers of Cheyenne and Volley. And that's it for the main militaristic and political factions in the game. Now let's focus on the smaller ones.
Okay, let's go. Next up, Ryujin Industries.
Ryujin Industries is a major corporation that offers its products throughout the settled systems. Its headquarters is located